G'day everybody, my name is Elliot Waters and you're listening to the Dysregulated podcast. As always, thank you for tuning in. Today's episode is titled Clunky, and the reason for that is that I have this sneaking suspicion that the last few episodes of this show have been just that, clunky. And the reason for that, I think, is because, well, this is the most real, fair income, genuine podcast on all the internet. So as a result, if my headspace has been clunky, the podcast is clunky as well. And I think that is exactly what has been going on. An example of this, I think, is the last episode. I was saying how amazing it is that the show has taken a positive turn because my world has taken a positive turn too, which is all well and good, except the episode before was exactly about me being flat as a tack. So that doesn't really make sense. The whole show hasn't really taken on a positive position, although I really, really want it to. But that particular episode did, and I transposed that to the whole thing. And the reason for that, I think, is because I'm having some memory issues. I've spoken about this before, I think, if I remember correctly. But it's becoming a bit of a problem because the continuity of my story, my narrative over the last few weeks is very, very disjointed, or you could say clunky. And as a result, the show has been much the same because I'm really, it's sort of like mindfulness to the extreme. And that is, so obviously, mindfulness, the idea is to try and be one with the moment, which is great. But it's not to be one with the moment and forget about every other moment. And that's a bit of what's happening at the moment. Not on purpose. I'm not doing this on purpose, but this is just how it sort of is playing out. I'm living moment to moment. If I'm happy in that moment, I think everything's great. If I'm not happy in that moment, I think everything's bad. We don't have that sense of what has come before, which influences what is coming now and what is coming ahead, because we can only really think about the now. And the reason for that is, I think, medication side effects. So my memory recall at the moment is pretty horrendous. If you asked me what I was doing this time last week, I wouldn't have a clue, or last weekend. I'd have to really, really think hard about what I was doing. Now, this isn't a new phenomena for people. This isn't just an Elliot thing. This isn't even a mental illness thing. We all have difficulties sometimes with recalling different information. But what I'm finding is that this is becoming very, very prevalent. This isn't just a one-off thing here and there. This is very consistent across, my timeline. I don't know what I've been doing the last couple of weeks. And I don't know then, therefore, what's sort of coming up ahead. And it's very, very difficult. And as I said, I think it's because of medications. Lamotrigine, pregabalin, both are known to cause memory deficits in people who are susceptible. And I think that's what's been going on here. So as a result, the podcast has been very much about telling you guys how I'm going in this particular moment, because I don't have at my disposal sort of this idea, this continuity, this narrative of what's gone before. So instead of creating episodes that are, taking in all these different elements over the last, these episodes are becoming very now based, and that's it. So for example, the fortnightly check-in series, which is not always done fortnightly, but I try to, that is meant to be all about recounting what has gone on the fortnight before. But what I'm finding more recently is the fortnightly check-in is really today's check-in, because we don't have, again, at our disposal, this narrative, these memories, this ability to recall, things that we have done over the preceding, say, 2 weeks. And I think pregabalin and lamotrigine are definitely playing a role in suppressing my short to medium term memory. And it's not just that either. If we look at the other end of the scale, looking forwards, there's problems there too. Not so much that we look forward and can't see the plan or not the plan, more the results of whatever plan we're trying to facilitate. I can picture what I would like to come up ahead. That's not so much a problem. But it's the executive functions, the actual organising, planning, and then executing, different goals and objectives. That's where we're struggling as well. And that is because my ADHD is not being medicated at present. And therefore, it is really, really starting to impede my progress and what's coming up ahead, because I just can't. Again, like I said, I can see where I want to be up ahead. I can see it. I can sort of see a bit of a pathway on how it might happen. But the actual steps, day by day, week by week, this planning, organising my materials and my energies and everything to work towards particular goals or objectives, I can't just sort of put A and then B and then step C, step D. I just can't formulate a step-by-step sort of plan, program, etc. to try and achieve these goals and objectives. Hope that makes sense, but basically I'm procrastinating and I don't know what to do, and I'm not achieving what I want to achieve every day because it takes so long for me to figure out what we're meant to be doing. Oh dear. So that's the latest there. So clunky. I think my headspace has been quite clunky recently, and therefore the podcast episodes maybe have followed suit. But like I said, I think at the top of the show, this is the most real, fair income, genuine podcast on all of the internet, and that is why, these episodes are clunky, because I download very much what's going on in my brain onto this show. There's no secrets here. I put it all out there. And if my world is clunky, the podcast is going to follow suit. And the reason for that is because there is so much raw, genuine sort of experiences and insight that I'm providing, I hope, because I'm putting it all out there. So in some ways, being a bit clunky is not so much of a bad thing, because it is a true representation of what's going on. But I am hopefully going to plan out a few episodes coming up, and they're going to be absolute rippers, and they're going to have a very clear direction, very clear goals and objectives, and step-by-step process in how to complete it. I just got to make that happen. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for listening to the show. As always, I do appreciate. If you are enjoying the show, you can follow me on Instagram at elliot.t.waters, or you can follow the show at thedysregulated.podcast. Until next time, see you later.